Welcome back, everybody. It's Untap Your Go, and today we are going to be playing Ascending Lizrog in Historic. So this is a deck built around Galloping Lizrog, and this is a deck I used to play in Standard before rotation. This is a 5-mana 3/3 with Trample that says when it enters the battlefield, you may remove any number of 1/1 counters from among creatures you control. If you do, put twice that many counters on Galloping Lizrog. And then the combo was playing Ram Through because it has Trample. Ram Through deals damage to a creature, and then a trample damage carries over to the opponent's life total. So in theory, you got this up to like 20 plus, and then you just ram through and kill your opponent on the spot. So we're combining this with more cards from Historic, since a lot has been printed since this combo was already good in Standard. So let's go over the deck. We're playing 4 copies of Llanowar Elves. This doesn't do anything for the game plan, but it just helps accelerate the mana, and that's all we really need it for, and it's kind of just like the best one drop that does that. Then we're playing 2 copies of Swarm Shambler. I chose this over Pelt Collector because even though it gets counters, it's only when creatures come into play, or when they die if they have greater power. Where this, you can just put counters on itself for 1 mana and tap it, and it gives us a little bit of like protection against removal. So if any of our creatures become targets of spells, we get 1/1 green insect tokens that replace them. Then we're playing 4 copies of Stonecoil Serpent because this just is really good at any point on the curve, and it just gets better and better in the late. And it also has Trample, so it synergizes pretty well with Ram Through. So if you can play this for 8 or more or whatever, and then just trample over and hit your opponent's life total, it's pretty good. We're playing 4 copies of Incubation Druid. This is another mana dork that we want to play because it has Adapt, so we don't have to actually use the Adapt ability. So we can play this on turn 2, and then turn 3 play Vivian and put the +2, and then on the following turn it will just tap for 3 automatically. Or we can adapt it if we have to. And then we're playing all 4 copies of Simic Ascendency. This is something I've always wanted to be good in Arena or in Magic period, and it actually has won me the game a few times in testing, so I really hope I get to display that on camera for you guys. It is a 2-mana enchantment. Whenever 1 or more counters are put on a creature you control, you put that many counters on growth counters on Simic Ascendency, and then at the beginning of your upkeep, if you have 20 or more growth counters on it, you win the game. So this I've gotten to 22 is the most I've ever gotten into, but I've like won the game. Like the one time I tried to activate an ability on my upkeep, I had 19 and I tried to put 20 on it. It doesn't actually work. It has to have 20 automatic, like it has to have 20 already on it on the upkeep for it to work. But it's really nice because you can put 3 mana into just dumping counters on your creatures. And then that gets us to our 3 drops. We're playing 2 copies of Branching Evolution. This is basically doubling season for +1/+1 counters. So like in theory, Simic Ascendancy puts 2 counters on a creature for 2, so that's really good. And like Yorvo would come in as an 8/8 instead of a 4/4, which we are playing all 4 copies of. This is just a great card, and every creature in our deck is green minus the Stonecoil Serpent. So we're gonna get the benefit of getting the +1 counters onto it. Then we have all 4 copies of Vivian Arcbow Ranger. I've tried this out as a 2-drop initially, and then I just realized 4 it's just so much better. Like then it went up to 3, then 4, and it's been really good every time I played it. It's been good every time I played it. So I can distribute +1/+1 counters on my creatures, and then they get trample until end turn, which is convenient because whatever creature we have that's huge, like Yorvo, if we can get this to be astronomically huge, we can give it trample until end of turn and then ram through. So it makes all of our creatures work with the combo, and it helps grow all of our creatures. So like Llanowar Elves doesn't get counters on its own. We could put counters on that if we need to. Things like that. And then with Branching Evolution, it's 4 counters on an activation, so that's really good. -3 to fight creatures, essentially, like you're dealing damage to target creature or planeswalker, so we're packing some removal. And then you can also -5 to tutor for any creature out of our sideboard, which we are playing a toolbox sideboard I'll go over in a minute. We are playing all 4 copies of the Galloping Lizrog because this is like essential to the Ram Through combo, and it's just a nice, we're packing like multiple win conditions in this deck, so it's pretty cool. Then we have 2 copies of the Great Henge because since we're a counter deck and we need an engine, this is going to help us draw into more and more resource. In the mana base, there is a mix of basics. We have 2 copies of Botanical Sanctum, all 4 breeding pools, and all 4 hinterland harbors. In the sideboard, of all of your choices, you have Cerulean Drake against mono red and targeted removal, Scavenging Ooze against graveyards, Glasspool Mimic to be able to copy your creatures, Garruk's Harbinger against mono black decks. We are not playing Garruk itself, but it does help us reveal creatures off the top and stuff, so that's cool. Prowling Serpapard is cool because we can bring this in against control. We don't want our creatures to be countered. This can't be countered itself, which is why I played this over Destiny Spinner. I know that it costs 1 mana less, but it can be countered, I think. We're playing Reclamation Sage to be able to destroy artifacts and enchantments. Questing Beast against token strategies or anything that's like 2 or less power that we need to get the combat damage through. We have 1 copy of Shifting Ceratops against blue decks. Frilled Mystic as a counterspell. Body Double to get creatures. It's another creature copy, but it's out of the graveyard, and it's either graveyard, so it can hit our opponent's creatures if they are playing something super good. We are playing Elder Gargaroth because it has reach, it creates a bunch of stuff, it does a bunch of things. Thragtusk to gain us some life, Rawlesk to put some counters on our creatures, and when it dies, it proliferates. Also has Trample, which synergizes with Ran Through. Then we're playing Carnage Tyrant, has Hexproof, can't be countered, has Trample itself, and Hydroid Krasis because it has flying and trample, and we can pay as much mana as we can afford into this to draw cards and gain life. That is the deck. I hope you enjoy this gameplay, and if you do, please leave a like on today's video. Click the link down below to try out the deck yourselves, and leave a comment down below if there's anything else you want to see on the arena, or if there's any suggestions you have for the channel. So thank you for being a current viewer. If you already watch my videos and you're not currently subscribed, please, please, please hit that bell. And let's take this into the arena and try out Ascending Lizrog against all of our opponents in Historic, and see if we can bring the heat with the Gallop of Lizrog Ran Through combo, or the Simic Ascendency, see if we can win on camera that way, or just win with a gigantic Yorvo that we get trample with Vivian and Arcbone Ranger. Let's find out. Alright, up against our first opponent, Lycan Sama, and they are on the play. Our opening hand is okay. We can go turn 1 Llanowar Elves into Simic Ascendency Stonecoil Serpent. We might also get lucky and draw into a good 3-drop like Yorvo or Branching Evolution, which we can play on turn 2. Yeah, this hand seems pretty good. Opponent leading off with a Breeding Pool. We will lead off with a Botanical Sanctum and play our Llanowar Elves. Alright. And now our opponent probably has Counter Magic, which is just great. Well, we're going to try to play the Incubation Druid first. Maybe draw out a counterspell. Yep, opponent's definitely holding up something. No attacks. Yep. So this is going to be a very difficult matchup, probably. Maybe not. They're just going to tap out on with Yorvo. Maybe Cunning Nightbonder was one of the only creatures with flash they had, unless they were just trying to get the ramp a little bit. And they're paying the 2 life. I wonder what they have for 1 mana. Yeah, we'll take it. Okay. Starting the turn with 4 mana, we can go up to 5. Kind of want to get the Simic Ascendency down soon. Alright, so pay the 2 life. Tap Llanowar Elves. I'm trying to think what they're holding up. Maybe like Disfigure, I guess. We're going to distribute the 2 counters here. So that way, even if they kill the Incubation Druid, we get some value out of it. Alright, so that happens. I don't know why I couldn't use my mana still main phase. Why can I not? Oh yeah, because it's green-blue, duh. Alright, so... I guess we play the Llanowar Elves. I was trying to figure out a way I could have played both of those cards that turn. Blacklands Paragon for our opponent. So they are still playing some flash creatures. Oh, and they cost one less to cast. Yeah, that's true. I would have bounced the Incubation Druid, honestly. Well, we can say bye to Vivian. I guess that's why they bounced it, so they can kill a Vivian. Makes sense. Main phase, Omen of the Sea. I guess they're trying to find their land drop. Great, and they have an extra blue source too to top it all off. Fair enough. 3, 4. And 7 if we do the colors right. Alright, let's try to resolve the Ascendancy. And it does. We can still play the Galloping Lizrog if we want to. I think now we just try to resolve the Stonecoil Serpent. So 3, 4, 5, we can play it for 5. They might have a Brazen Borrower, which kind of sucks. If they can reset our Simic Ascendency, but it's still a factory that we can at least pay mana to put counters onto our creatures if they don't interact with it. Alright, our opponent with nothing, apparently. Cool, land, no attacks. Oh yeah, we're doing good. We're doing fantastic. So 5, 6, 7. So it would be 14 put onto this. That would be one shy of winning us the game, potentially. 4, 7, 8. We have 8 mana, huh? Wow, okay, so we can actually win the game. So we will Galloping Lizrog. If this resolves, anyway. That's a bummer. Fair enough. So I can either play the Llanowar Elves to have more mana next turn, or I can hold up the mana to put up a counter on one of our creatures. Well, I think we play the mana. I'm not sure our opponent's actually going to attack. And I think our opponent had another counterspell. That, or they're holding up another Omen of the Sea. No, nothing, apparently. It's been a pretty good game so far. Keeping our life total relatively high. Brazen Borrower was cool, but our Stonecoil has reach, so we can keep that at bay. Well, that was a loud bang. I don't know if anybody heard that from outside my window. 5, 8, 9, 10. We have 10 mana. Well, we can try to go for the Galloping Lizrog again. Well, let's try it. So wait, actually, be 6, 7, so 14. Yep. So place 14 counters on our Galloping Lizrog. Our Simic Ascendency is at 20, and we will basically just pass the turn now. So if they try to interact with our creatures, I mean, if they bounce our Ascendancy, we're still not in like terrible shape because we just have a 17/17. And we will end the turn. Opponent kept 1, I believe. Alright, Tyrant Scorn for our opponent. So they bounce the creature. Well, that's okay. Go to attacks. Six, 7, 8. I mean, I'm just gonna take 8. I could have blocked with the Incubation Druid and put the counter on it. We'll just put it on this Incubation Druid. Puts us to 20. So unless they have Disallow in their hand, we just win the game. First game, yes! Nice. Got there. Alright, going into game 2 against Bop Bop 71. And this looks like a pretty good hand, so we're going to keep it. This seems like almost ideal. Too good to be true. Hopefully we're not going up against somebody with heavy removal. Also decided to switch up the pet. I really enjoy the pup, so hope everybody enjoys the pup. If you have the pup, always say hello to the pup. Alright, so opponent's on the energy game plan, so hopefully they don't get to spin the wheel with Aetherworks Marvel anytime soon. Alright, Branching Evolution is really good. So we're going to pay... We have 5 mana total. Alright, so we can Vivian plus up, put the counters on our creatures, and then we can tap the Incubation Druid to play the Branching Evolution. And then next turn, we're, like, in a crazy good spot. Alright, Mind Stone for our opponent. They're ramping up a little bit. Double Mind Stone. Okay, so we're off to a pretty good start here. Could play the Stonecoil Serpent too. The Lizrog might just kind of get us there. So we have 3, 4, 7, 8 mana. So we'll pay the 2 life. Play the Stonecoil Serpent for 3. Plus up here. And then we're going to remove basically all of them. So now we have a 31/31 Galloping Lizrog. Opponent has 5 mana. There's the Extinction event, so they're going to name Odd as, assuming. Still leaves us with the Stonecoil and the Incubation Druid, which is fine. We're okay with that. That would have just one-shot the Simic Ascendency to 20 too, by the way. Branching Evolution is so dumb. Alright, so we drew a land, which is honestly fine. So we're going to -5. Let us see. What can we get? We have a lot of options, actually. What's in our opponent's graveyard? Nothing really. We got nothing. I think we just take the Rolesk because it's the most aggressive here. We'll just go ahead and attack. Now if he dies, we get to proliferate a bunch of times. Four, 5. Our opponent has 5 mana, so they're, I mean, what can they play? Golos. Okay. Searches for any land. Field of the Dead is banned, so get that out of here. Not in my house. Out of here with that nonsense. Opponent does get to grab something good though, and I assume they're playing Chromatic Ori, so they can activate the Golos' ability. So definitely got to be mindful of that. Pupper sneezed. God bless you. Alright, drew another land, which is a little unfortunate, but we're okay with that. Go ahead and put the counters here. Distribute. And we're just going to start beating down. Our opponent's most likely going to kill the Vivian, which is fine. We're okay with that. If they extinction event afterwards, then we're kind of screwed. We'll hold up the land, I guess. Doesn't matter. Alright, another Ether Hub. Only 2 energies, so... Turns out this wasn't even an energy deck. It's just the 5-color... colorless deck. Golos is cool. What does it help them? How does it help them, though? They pay 3... They have 3 mana, so what can they get out of their sideboard that saves them? Yeah, I can't think of anything that actually helps them. Meteor Golem doesn't help them right now. And there's Guardian Idol. Alright, so good game, opponent. Give them the good game. And we'll actually just kill our opponent with the ran through. Our opponent with the sad Hedron. I'm so sorry, Bop Bop. I'm so sorry. Alright, going into game 3 against Alter Zangi, and they are on the play. Our opening hand is pretty cool, so we're going to keep this. Llanowar Elves into Yorvo seems really nice, and then Lizrog following up after that. Yeah, this is going to be good. If we can get another Branching Evolution into play or something, that would be nuts. Obviously, Vivian off the top, too, would be cool. And pass it up. Up against blue-white something. Alright, so it's potentially blue-white control, blue-white colorless. You know, there's a whole lot of things going on in the format currently. Play our Yorvo and pass it up. Oh, okay, so we're up against blue-white mill. So now we just need to try to beat down our opponent as quick as possible. It's 2 lands. Drew into a 3rd. It's not super good. We have 4 mana. I could play Yorvo just to like get up the power, but that's not really important. So we'll just, this turn we'll attack, next turn we'll attack again, and then we can follow up with the Lizrog. Maybe that might be enough. Depends. I assume our opponent is playing Shatter. Yep, there it is. Draws a card. Another ran through. Not super good. Well, we're just going to do the same exact setup. Force our opponent to have the board wipe a second time. And I should have played that backward. I played that backwards. My mistake. But that's okay. Should have played the Yorvo first. Alright, Mythos. So our opponent creates their own Yorvo. Seems good. Alright, so 5, 6 mana. So we will not have enough mana to Galloping Lizrog and attack or ram through our opponent's Yorvo. So for this turn, we're just going to play the Incubation Druid. Oh, you know what, actually? Now I can go ahead and ram through. And then we'll just get in for 6. Alright, now our opponent's like big dead soon. Mythos of Aluna is really cool, though. They're just playing it to create a token of any permanent. That's so good. Makes another Yorvo. Alright, so now we actually have enough mana to do what I wanted to do. We'll play Galloping Lizrog. So we'll take all but one. He goes back up to 3. We have an 11. Kills this, puts him down to 6. And then we can beat him down to 3. Do we get there? They've hit like all of our lands. They've milled like mostly lands. Alright, there's another fountain. He said oops. Well, we're just gonna attack with everything except the Incubation Druid. Good game. Maybe our opponent meant to play a 5 cost. He might have had like cast down potentially. Or yeah, I don't know. Sorry, guy. Alright, going into our 4th game against Aerothorn. And we are on a tear right now, so let's see if we can go undefeated. This opening hand seems pretty good. We don't have a turn 1 Llanowar Elves, but we have a turn 1 Simic Ascendency, and then we can follow up with 4 counters on Yorvo. And then we might be able to win with the Galloping Lizrog combination with Simic Ascendency. Stick around and find out. Our opponent's playing what appears to be Ketria, so it could be Temur. Ooh, I really hope it's not the Neoform deck, because we would be in a lot of trouble if so. Lotus Cobra's pretty good too. Play the Simic Ascendency, pass it up. Opponent's looking at it like, who plays this? I sure do. It's one of my favorite cards. It's one of the best cards ever printed. I don't care what anybody says, it's so good. Alright, Lotus Cobra for our opponent. Now they get to follow up a Fable Passage and just go absolutely crazy. You know, every time. I never have Lotus Cobra starts like this. Alright, so they didn't have that 2-cost elemental guy. 4 mana. It never ends. It never ends. 3 mana. Alright, well thankfully they had nothing to do with it. And then we're just going to play our measly Yorvo. Pass it up. So, I mean, if this lives, at least we can Vivian and start interacting with their creatures or placing more counters on our dudes. Galloping Lizrog is definitely going to have to carry us. Here's the extra land. So they have 5, 6, 7. They can play the Ultimatum. Probably hit like an Ugin or something and just completely blow me out of the game. Okay, so we're going to try Vivian, see if it resolves. It sure does. Yeah, we'll put the counters here. Let's try to get in for 6. Alright, double land for our opponent. So now they have enough mana for Genesis Ultimatum if they feel like playing that, if they have it. Or they can just straight up hard cast an Ugin. Yep. That's super good. What does the opponent do with it? Yep. So the opponent just goes ahead and kills everything. Well, I guess we play the Simic Ascendency and just pass. See if our opponent wants to -2. Alright, opponent decides not to minus. Seems cool. Alright, we're gonna play the Swarm Shambler. And I guess we just pass. If our opponent decides to bolt the Swarm Shambler, we get a 1/1 out of it, and then we can put a counter on it. Which might be relevant. This game is definitely going to be dictated whether or not this Ugin lives. Target of a spell. It's only spell? So lame. That is so lame. Okay. Alright, Hinterland Harbor for us. Galloping Lizrog is just gonna get exiled if we... Damn, this sucks. Okay, well let's play it. See if our opponent wants to -5. Or yeah, I guess I can just bolt it, yeah. Alright, opponent gets a land. I'm pretty sure we lost this game. And our opponent gets to play the Beanstalk Boy. Yeah, we definitely lost this game. Good game, opponent. Alright, going into our 5th and final game against Lakin, I had to open up my big mouth, and we ended up losing our 4th game. Let's see if we can redeem ourselves by winning the 5th game. And I think this opening hand is okay. We'll keep it. Start off with the Breeding Pool, save us the life. Up against another Ketria, so hopefully it's the same kind of deck and we get to just stomp it this time. We feel better about losing it to it the first time. Do we see Lotus Cobra? Oh no, Growth Spiral. Okay. Ooh, also really like the Forest. Alright, so we have 4 mana at the start of this turn. I feel like we play our Simic Ascendency. Then go ahead and play our 2nd Incubation Druid. Pass it up. Storm's Wrath for our opponent's pretty good. Go ahead and put all 4 counters onto this Stokecoil Serpent. See if our opponent has another Storm's Wrath. Alright, Hydro Crisis for our opponent. Gains a life and draws a card. Yorvo is pretty cool. If we had 1 extra mana, then we can ram through also. I actually don't mind that. I think we're just going to Yorvo. We're up to 8 counters. Escape to the Wilds for our opponent. And they hit Storm's Wrath, which they can play, I think, next turn. Alright, you love to see it. So we're going to attack first. And then we're going to Galloping Lizrog. All of our creatures are going to die to the Storm's Wrath regardless. So we will take all 4 from both. If we end up losing for that, then my mistake, but we win on the next turn unless they deal with the Ascendancy. Thanks. Nice from our opponent. Oh, you monster. Well, we win either way, unless they can interact with both permanents. Okay, so they decide to not let us win the cool way. So now we just have to settle for trying to win with the Galloping Lizrog, assuming our opponent doesn't have a way to kill it. Good game. Super, super good game. I really wanted to win with the Ascendancy though. What the heck? He had to stop me from having fun. Welcome back to the wrap up, everybody. If you made it this far, thank you so much for watching. And today we went 4-1 for a pretty cool finish, and I really hope you enjoyed the gameplay. I had a lot of fun, and this deck is a doozy. It's a lot of fun to play. I definitely recommend importing it into Arena and trying it out yourselves. If you like this gameplay in the video, please leave a like on today's video. Leave a comment down below if you have any suggestions or if there's anything you want to see on camera. If you're a viewer and you enjoy my content, please consider hitting the subscribe and the bell for notifications and all that good stuff. It really helps the channel. It means a lot to me. And join the Discord too. Hop down there if you want to, shoot me some messages or just brew some decks with me. So I look forward to interacting with all of you guys more often soon. So thanks for watching, everybody. Stay tuned, and I will see you guys in the next video.